Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of So What Else? I'm your host, Caitlin, and I just got off of a really good interview with Erica Ligenza Gwynn. She's awesome. She's a new mom of three, so she's like freshly postpartum, and she wrote a really great book. It's called That's Just Not True: How to Replace the Lies You Didn't Know You Believed with God's Unchanging Truth. We break down in this episode a lot of lies that we have just come to accept as a culture. So things like, God won't give me more than I can handle. I can do anything. My feelings are my truth. I can manifest my dream life. I am enough. You know, we talk about how like some of those things that I literally just said, I'm sure some of you are feeling a little like ruffled by that. You're like, excuse me, I am enough. You know, I can do anything. Okay, well, before you get all in a tizzy, listen to this episode because Erica walks us through all of those individual lies and she talks about the truth beneath it. And we just have very good conversation. She's been through a lot in her life. She's got a lot to say. She knows the Bible. She knows the truth. She's a fascinating person to listen to. So I think you're really going to enjoy this interview. I will say, we had a tiny bit of connection issues. So there's like a few little moments where like it sounds a little robot-y, you know, when that happens, when like your connection is bad. So just bear with it. It's like a little blip, but like we're good. Like we get through the whole conversation. You can hear everything. It's fine. Just like forgive us for the tiny little bits that sound a little not ideal. You know what I'm saying? Oh, also, I forgot to mention next Monday is Memorial Day, so we will not have a new episode, but we will be back in action the following Monday. But I appreciate you guys listening, and I know you're going to love this interview, so enjoy.
Good.
How's postpartum life?
Postpartuming?
Yeah. How old's your baby now? 3 months?
3 months.
3 months. Oh my goodness. How is it going adjusting to 3?
I would say better than I expected.
Good.
Yeah, I wasn't I wasn't sure what to expect because I think going into it, I genuinely, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not the girl for the job. Like,
oh, totally.
People can have 3 babies. I'm like, I think I've tapped out at 2. We're good. So I had pretty low expectations of myself.
Yes, I get that.
For 3, I was like, if we make it through and like everybody's, you know, living and breathing at the end of the day, it's a successful day.
Absolutely.
But I kind of feel like I'm almost already getting there with some of it. So
nice. Good for you.
Work in progress.
Are you getting sleep at night or are you just accepting that you're not?
It's not been too bad. So I will say, I think Gemma she slept through the night maybe 4 times now.
Okay.
Which is like,
that's really good for being so little.
But we went back to not. We went back to.
Yeah, that was my life always.
Probably like twice during the night, usually around like 3:30ish. She's up.
Yeah.
And then like 5:30, 6ish, like just enough where it's okay, my day has to start now kind of early. So,
totally. Because you're like, if I go back to bed now, it'll ruin my day. But that was always
like
my
if I go back
story.
To bed now, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I would die. That was always my story, though. They would start doing good, and then they would backtrack, and then they would do good, and then they would backtrack, and then, you know, what are you going to do? But I have 3 girls. My youngest is 3. So I'm out of that, you know, baby stage, and my husband got a vasectomy, so we're done. So 3 is my cap. I've hit my limit.
You're like, I'm like, at this point, I'm like, God, you know, like now we're really at my limit.
Yes,
so
this is my limit.
I was at my limit before.
Yes.
This is for real, my limit.
This is absolutely, I promise, my real limit. I promise you.
Yeah.
Well, you look like, awake and sunshiny and ready to go. So you look like you're doing great.
Okay, well, I feel like the 3rd trimester of pregnancy prepares you for this, though, because I'm like,
totally.
I feel like I was up at least once a night, every night during my whole 3rd trimester, like to just get up and pee, or like because I was horribly uncomfortable. So I'm like, I don't really mind the newborn, no, knock on wood, but like I don't really mind the whole.
I felt the same way.
Because I'm like,
No, totally.
Right.
For my third, I had such a horrible pregnancy, and I had like I had a rib that had like popped out, and like so it was like terrible. So the point was, I was in such excruciating pain the whole third trimester that for me, once she was out, I was like,
You're like,
up
I'm
every
good.
hour if I have to get up every hour. I don't care. Just the fact that my body isn't physically like breaking like is better. So you're 100%
for sure.
right.
Oh yeah, it makes such a big difference. Like even the fact that you can just like roll
Absolutely.
to the other side in bed, you're like, fantastic. I'll get it 5 times.
Absolutely. You're like, this is a dream. Now, how old are your other kids now?
7 and 2.5.
2.5 with a baby is not the easiest thing.
It's not.
Yeah,
No.
I did that as well. It's not the best because you kind of feel like you have 2 babies.
Well, and there's sometimes where the baby will be sleeping through the night, and then like the toddler will wake up in the middle of the night with a nightmare and come screaming in. So I'm like, it's not really just the baby thing that makes you not sleep. It's just kind of like
100%
entire time of life.
No, totally. Now we'll get into this later, but like you have not had an easy go with motherhood. Obviously, your first daughter was born 2 months early. We'll talk about that later. And then your second, you had a lot of trouble getting pregnant. With your third, how was it an easier time pregnancy and birth wise?
Oh, she was a surprise.
So she like, just came right on. Oh, I love
the
that.
joke was on us. Like I that was a time because I did not. I was like, I'm sorry, God, what? Like,
yes.
You mean first almost died. Then I like was trying so hard for something. And then I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I'm good. Thanks so much. And then I accidentally get pregnant.
Yeah.
Me, the girl who couldn't get pregnant for a year, actively trying. Now I'm not even trying. Now I'm actively not trying. Oops. Like,
that's so hard to swallow. Like it really is just like, okay, we have no control. Any control that we think we have in our life is an illusion.
100%. Well, and then that's also such a whirlwind of emotions that I feel like does not get talked about a lot because you feel like you got hit by a bus emotionally when you're in a situation like that. Because I'm like, at least for me, I was not happy when I first saw the positive pregnancy test, and I felt horrible about not being happy
100%
seeing that, because I knew what dealing with infertility felt like for a long period of time. I had so many girlfriends who were still experiencing that.
Yes.
And I'm like, I felt horrible. I felt like a horrible mom. I felt so ungrateful. Like I went through so much self-shaming in that period of time that I wasn't over the moon thrilled to have a positive pregnancy test. So, and then, so I'm like, wow, that's an emotional time. Besides the fact that your hormones are already going a mile a minute, and you're like, wow, I'm a terrible mother.
No, it's like, there's always going to be something to shame yourself for. And I think that that's something that women struggle with a lot that they don't want to talk about. My cousin talked about that. She got pregnant with her second daughter, with her second child as a surprise when her baby was only 4 months old, and so she was like, of course I wasn't happy. I was freaking out. And she was like, and of course I feel guilty about that because I knew that there's people that would give their left arm to be able to get pregnant. But like, I wasn't ready. I did not feel like I could handle it. And so then I was upset, and then you feel guilty that you're upset. And it's like a whole thing, and it's just hard. It's just hard. All 100%. Of it is hard.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's really, all of it is hard.
it absolutely is all hard. And I read your whole book cover to cover about, I don't know, a month ago or so.
Thank you.
Absolutely loved it. That's Just Not True. How to Replace the Lies You Didn't Know You Believed with God's Unchanging Truth. I loved it for a lot of reasons. Obviously for the content, but also it's such a quick read. It's such a quick, easy. The chapters are short. They're easy to digest. It's practical. It's quick. Like, it's not the type of thing where you're like lost in this like heavy, like theological thing where you're like, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. Like, you're like, this is what we're talking about. These are the sections, like boom, boom, boom. And it's like quick, easy to digest. And I really, really like that a lot. Okay. So the book is about, you're welcome. It's about cultural lies disguised as empowerment. I love that phrase because it's So true. You know, especially now with the rise of like, you know, like the Instagram influencer Christians, like they all, you know, they mean well, but it's like, you know, they taught these like nice little phrases that we all just kind of start to like accept are true. And your whole book is about how if you take a really long look and a long critical eye at some of these phrases, you're like, wait, is that true? And so your book goes through 17 different lies and you break them all down. So some of them are like, God won't give me more than I can handle. I can do anything. My feelings are my truth. I can manifest my dream life. I am enough. And like, there's people right now that are probably sweating because as I'm saying these things, people are probably like, what do you mean? Like, why are you calling that a lie?
Exactly.
That's true. Like those things are true.
Yeah.
So it's real. Like, honestly, first of all, you're very brave for writing this book because I'm sure there's people that aren't happy with that message. You know what I mean? That you've put out. Like, I want to believe those things. Like, I don't want you to call those a lie. Like, those are my truth, you know? So I would love to have time today to go through all 17. We obviously can't go through all 17, but we're going to go through some of them. Okay. We're going to go through some of the lies that you point out, and I want you to kind of walk us through them. Okay. So my absolute favorite one is God won't give you more than you can handle. Cause that is the most popular thing. People love to say it. You get a cancer diagnosis. People tell you that. Something bad happens with your child. People say that to you. You're having fertility struggles. People give you a pillow that says that. Like, it's all the time. Tell me about that. Why is that a lie? And I would love for you to share with us how when this became real for you when your daughter was born, your first daughter was born.
Yeah. So I will say I also believed this to be a thing. I think a lot of us do until you get to a point in your life where it is you come face to face with it, where like you are handed that thing that you thought, oh, sure, I can handle this because God gave it to me. And then you realize, oh my gosh, no, this is not real. And then for me, like you mentioned, that came with the birth of my daughter. So the short version of that is she was born at 32 weeks. So she was very, very premature. I was diagnosed with severe preeclampsia. She was only 3 pounds when she was born. She almost died. I almost died. It was not a time. It was not a time. It was really, really bad. And going through all of that and going through something like that was a literal near-death experience. I mean, there was a point where the medications that I was on, I was completely out of it. Like you can sense everybody around you kind of moving and doing things, but you are not in control of your own bodily functions, let alone anything else. Like, and when you come to a moment like that, where you're like, wow, I am in a state of complete dependency. Like I'm not handling anything. I'm like barely handling staying alive right now. Like there are machines and medications that are making that happen so that I don't stroke out on a table or you realize like, oh, I'm not in control right now. Like this is out of my hands. So I think sometimes we kind of go through a really extreme experience that puts that into perspective where you're like, oh, I'm not nearly as much in control as I would like to think. But I think the beauty in understanding that God will, in fact, give you more than you can handle is the immediate thing that also goes with that is it's never going to be more than he can handle. Yeah. So I think it's like moments like that are completely life-changing, completely life-altering, maybe life-threatening, really offer a unique opportunity for us to unite ourselves all the closer with Christ because he's really calling us in to be like, yeah, you can't actually do this on your own. Do you believe that I'm going to do it for you and with you? Because this is the time. Like, this is the time we lock arms because you're not going to be able to do it by yourself. Like, try as you might. So but then it's one of those things where in writing the book, okay, sure, that sounds fine and dandy. But the whole point for me in going through all of these lies was to dive into scripture for each of them to figure out like, okay, this ain't about our thoughts and feelings. Like this isn't about what we think is cute on a Hallmark card or like what feels good or looks good or what we think is like cute and Christian. This is like, what does God actually have to say about this? Like we say it, we have really good intentions when we say it to each other and we're trying to encourage each other. We're trying to lift each other up and be like, yeah, you've got this. Like, so it's not at all to minimize that, but it's like, but what does scripture truly say? Right. So this was one in particular where diving into scripture, it's like you see so many like seemingly crazy stories. Like you think of like David in the face of Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was it David's own strength that brought down Goliath?
Right.
Like we look at that today and like the idea of David and Goliath, we don't even know what the equivalent of like a Goliath would be in modern history. But if you play that story out, like it doesn't even sound real. Like you've got this little shepherd boy who's got like some rocks and stones and throws a stone at this like massive warrior and he goes falling down and they like, what? That's not, it doesn't feel real. That was God. That wasn't David, who was like, actually, my slingshot skills are exceptional.
Right.
You know, so it's like,
totally.
we see stories like that. We see Mary when the angel Gabriel came to her and was like, hey, you're going to be the mother of God. Like, this wasn't because Mary did something that was like, you know what I mean? It's like, we see all of these things, these characters in the Bible who are absolutely given more than they can handle. But the point is that God never gave them something and was like, cute, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Let's see how you do with it.
Yeah.
Like it's never that. It's always, I'm going to give you more than you can handle. And I'm going to handle it with and for you. And I'm going to be right by your side every single step of the way. And I think that's where the empowerment comes in, is it's actually not on you to handle all of it. And that's a freeing thing.
Absolutely.
When you can kind of come to terms with that and be like, actually, I don't have to figure this all out. I actually don't need to be the one that does everything and figures it all out and is the savior at the end of the day. Like that's actually not all on me. And I don't know about you, but for me, I find that very freeing. Like
absolutely.
As the recovering perfectionist, as the recovering type A achiever, I'm like, wait, somebody else is going to take it out of my hands and oh my gosh. Okay, cool. Like, and that is, there's a way to breathe easier.
Absolutely.
That's like the breath of fresh air.
Totally, because it's like that is such a well-intentioned lie. God won't give you more than you can handle, but it's very crushing because then you feel like, oh, so I have to handle it. So apparently I'm equipped to handle this.
Right.
And I just thought that was huge what you said. No, God will give you more than you can handle, but he won't give you more than he can handle. You said in the book, you said in this life, you will be given things you actually can't handle. You will feel overwhelmed, discouraged, maybe even completely desperate and desolate, but you will never have to handle them alone. Like how encouraging is that?
Yeah.
It's just so good.
That's, I think, the most important thing for us all to, that's the most important thing right there for us all to remember, is because when, like what you said, like when we are in that moment where we would be told or where we would hear, okay, God won't give you more than you can handle. I think it really can feel jarring for us because there's such a felt disconnect between our own strength in those moments and what we're being told we could or maybe should do. So it's like when you're in that moment, if that feels really isolating, when you're in this moment where you might be like literally just sobbing on the bathroom floor. You don't know how you're going to get up and do tomorrow. And now you're being told, actually, though, you should be able to handle this. That's why God gave it to you.
Yes.
Your first thought is not like, oh yeah, I've got this. Like your first thought is like, oh my God, literally, I don't know how I'm going to get up tomorrow. Like, I don't know how I can do, I have no idea. I am at the end of myself. I can't do this because I am at the end of myself. To be told, actually, you should be able to, like, you got this. It doesn't land, I think, the way that we maybe think it would or would hope it would in some situations like that. And that's where I almost think, like, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that it doesn't land, because maybe sometimes like we are at the end of ourselves. Like that is where you are, and being told, oh, hey, you're actually not, there's more might not be true. It's not true. And it might not also be the thing that would serve us best, because sometimes I think we need to hear like, hey, you actually don't need to handle this alone.
Totally. You talked about in the book when you were in the hospital having Olivia, your daughter, you were on some kind of medication. What was that? Can you tell us about that?
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's called magnesium sulfate. It is to prevent you from going into, well, I was at a risk of stroke and seizure. So if there's medical professionals listening and they can correct me if I'm wrong here. I think I think it was like kind of to prevent both from happening. My blood pressure was 180 over 120 when they brought me in. So like, that's very, very bad. Like that's they were like, yeah, listen, like you are going to have a stroke and or seizure if we don't do this now. Like it was very bad. So as soon as you have a diagnosis like severe preeclampsia, they put you on magnesium sulfate to like keep your levels sort of leveled down to keep you from literally stroking out. So it's, oh my gosh, my memory from that too is so foggy because it truly felt like I was in limbo. Like I was like, this must be what it feels like to have an experience where you're like where people will say they saw themselves out of their body and we're like looking down. I'm like, this must be what this feels like, because I was like, I remember being conscious and and aware loosely of people coming in or out or whatever. But like, I couldn't carry a conversation. I couldn't keep my eyes open. Like I felt like a zombie, and I felt like I was cooking from the inside out because my body was hot. So like my mom and my husband to this day, they were like, no, you were like, we were very concerned for you, because they said I was like thrashing to throw blankets off of me, and I was so hot. I kept needing like fans and ice cubes, and I have no memory of that. They were like, no, you were like thrashing around. Like,
it's so scary.
Off of me. Like it was, so it's not a fun. It's one of those things where as soon as you're on it, I think it must have been like, I think I said this in the book. I'm like, I felt like I was on a date with like the whole Sith Empire from Star Wars. Like it was just so bad. And one of my best friends was on it as well. And she was on chemo when she was a teenager. And she said it's the closest thing she's ever experienced to chemo. So like,
it's horrible.
It just does a number on your body. You're like, ugh.
Oh man, you poor thing. Oy. So yeah, I mean, sounds like more than you can handle.
It was totally more than I could handle.
Oh, okay.
Oh, humbling. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. The next lie that I loved reading about is my feelings are my truth. I loved this chapter because there's so much there. There's so much there. Like you said in the book, truth is about how we feel and what is real for us. They say that a lot. And you said that is dangerous. That is dangerous to say truth is how we feel and what is real for us. Why is that dangerous? Tell us.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I would hope / think at first glance, a lot of us can immediately see like, ooh, that maybe that's not right. Because the example that I love that I think illustrates this really well, and for anyone who might be on the fence about this one, I feel like this kind of puts it into perspective decently well, is I think of this as it relates to like a toddler. Because I have a 2.5-year-old, so this checks out. So I'm like, to a toddler, a monster under the bed may feel very real. But is it reality? A lot, we can look at that and we can go, okay, no, that's not real. Like but to their brain, they are completely convinced. Like this happened literally last week. My poor son came running out of his room screaming at 3:00 in the morning because he swore there was an alligator in his room.
Oh my gosh.
He was like absolutely convinced, would not go back in his room. He was like, there is an alligator in my room. Okay. That's not reality though.
Right.
So we experience this all the time. Like feelings are fleeting. Feelings are not facts. And we are very emotional beings. But if we lead with our emotions, ooh, baby, like it's dangerous because it's not indicative of actual reality. It points us to oftentimes, what may feel real or feel right in a moment, but that doesn't necessarily align with objective truth. And it can change. And oftentimes it does change. Like we see our feelings can change. How we feel this morning may be different than we feel at the end of the night. And if you're banking on any of that as gospel, okay, that's just not gonna work. It's not gonna help you. It's not gonna help anybody else because it's just true.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I've heard it said like feelings are valid, but they are not always true. So like it's so valid for your son to be scared. And like obviously as a parent, you're not going to be like, oh, little 2-year-old, you're so stupid. Like that's so dumb that you're scared. Of course not. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, like I love you. I hear you that you're scared and I'm here for you and I'm comforting you. But it is not true that there is an alligator there. Like we can validate your
Yeah.
feelings and also speak truth to you. I know in your book you also gave like an eating disorder example. Like people who have like body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. Sure. So this one, and I mean, trigger warning, I guess, to anyone who might need it. But if somebody is suffering from anorexia and they're looking in the mirror and they're seeing themselves and saying, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, and they only weigh 90 pounds. Okay, well, how do you help that? You don't look at them and validate that. You don't look at them and say, oh my God, you're right. You're totally fat. You're starving yourself. Like I think culturally that might be a bit more of an accepted example because a lot of us can look at that and go, no, of course not. Of course that's silly. But to that individual, he or she may very well feel that the truth is that they're fat. Like they're looking at themselves in the mirror and they're going, no, this is how I feel. This is reality. But the rest of society can look at that and say, okay, there's a misalignment here. So I actually, when people say, okay, your feelings are valid, I like it worded a little bit differently. And I think I might have put this in the book too. Like your feelings are real in that what you are feeling, what you are emoting, what you are experiencing, real, 100%. But if your real feelings are not based on reality, they actually might not be valid.
Yeah, that's
because
good.
I think as a society, we've gotten so used to validating feelings that we sometimes, I think, unintentionally give people the permission to just keep staying in that feeling instead of diving deeper into, well, what actually is true? What actually is the truth? And when we get to that point, that's when we're able to take back control of our feelings, to realign them with truth, to be able to say to ourselves like, hey, I get why you feel this way. It makes sense. That feeling that you have or had, it's totally real. But if it's not based on reality, the next step there has to be that we hold every thought captive and we take every thought captive and we transform it and we renew our mind and we do these things that scripture tells us that we can do with Christ, where we say, okay, I get why I'm feeling this way. It makes sense, but it is not necessarily based on something that is good, true, right, just whatever. So I need to shift the way that I am thinking. And with that, my heart posture can go with it so that I start feeling differently and so that my feelings can start shifting with it. I think sometimes it has to come from, though, telling ourselves what is true over and over and over and over before our feelings get on board with that. I think they're kind of like the last thing to get on board sometimes, where we can be like, okay, logically, intellectually, I know that this thing is true, but my heart feels differently. And it's like, yeah, your heart's going to feel differently sometimes, and you have to preach to it. And you have to say like, okay, but this is true and this is true. And let the Lord start transforming your heart as you keep renewing your mind.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had a counselor say to me once, you have to change your behaviors first, and the thoughts and the feelings will be the last to go, and it'll take a lot longer, but you have to change your
100%.
behaviors like based upon what you know to be true, how can we guard against letting our feelings become our ultimate truth?
Oh gosh, I think that really comes from checking in with yourself and being super self-aware. Like you have to call out the feelings that you have while you're experiencing them. And I see this so much. I feel like the parallels become really interesting when you're a mom too, because I don't know about you, but I find myself saying, as I'm like teaching my 7-year-old, teaching Olivia, now she's 7. And like, as I'm trying to teach her about, okay, emotional regulation and like we're talking feelings and emotions and everything. And actually putting names to them, actually figuring out, okay, well, why do you feel this way? What made you react in this way? What triggered you in this way? Like really trying to put language to it for them to understand too, to be able to communicate it. It really holds the mirror up for yourself too, where you're like, man, you've really got to be self-aware with yourself and ask yourself those questions too. Like I've gotten into the habit of doing this anytime I feel off. Like if I am just like having a morning and I know I'm anxious, I have to literally stop myself in my tracks and be like, where was the trigger? Where did this start? And I have to mentally go back and be like, okay, what was I doing? What was I seeing? What was I thinking? Because oftentimes I feel like this is the way for a lot of people probably in our society today. For me, a lot of times it might be because I was scrolling on my phone.
Yes.
And when we're scrolling on our phone, we're not like actively we're not like mentally engaged all the time. We're just doom scrolling. We're just like, it's a habit. Your thumb's going. And all of a sudden you put your phone down and you're in a different mood and you don't even realize you're in a different mood. So you might have consumed, I don't know, 20 posts in 60 seconds. And you don't even, if you can't like mentally go back and be like, which one was it? It can be really confusing because I think we do this all the time and we don't even consciously realize, wait, I was happy when I picked up my phone and now I put it down and I feel kind of pissed. I feel kind of sad. I feel kind of like discontent. I feel kind of jealous. I feel edgy. I feel irritated. I feel like there's all these different things that can come up and we're not even necessarily aware of the root of where it started from. So I think a really practical thing to get in the habit of doing in your everyday life is getting in tune with that, where you can actually identify, hold up, I feel different. I feel not super great. Where and why did this mood shift happen? Because a lot of times I think it's happening and we're not even aware of what we're doing when this shift starts to happen. So I think that's just a really good first step is get in the habit of scanning your thoughts, scanning your feelings, connecting the dots between what you're doing and how you're feeling. Because otherwise then we kind of go through and things get all crazy along the way.
That's really good. That's really, really good. Learning how to be aware of what set us off. I think that's really good. Thank you for that. Okay. The next lie. I'm just whatever, fill in the blank. So I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I'm just, a podcast host. It's a little podcast. I'm just, whatever. Yeah, I just have one kid or whatever. You know what I mean?
It's just my little business.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just a side hustle. It's Why do you think that is so damaging to talk like that?
Because it completely downplays where God has you in this season for whatever reason he has you in it. It does a disservice to that because I think when we are talking like that about ourselves, first of all, we're giving other people permission to also talk that way about us, which right. We don't want to do that. But it's one of those things where God can and does use everything. So when we get in the habit of downplaying it, we're doing a disservice to ourselves. We're doing a disservice to the potential and the power in the place that God has us now, because he doesn't have you there by accident. So I think when we start talking like that, it kind of makes it allows a seed of discontentment to grow in our hearts because we're telling ourselves that this isn't good enough.
Yes.
Or this isn't maybe the finish line. This is just a random, just the word, it's just a random thing here. It's not, there's no good that can be found because it's too small or it's too whatever. It's too insignificant. It's not whatever enough. And we miss it when we do that. We miss the potential in that moment. We miss what God is trying to do for us in those seasons. We miss what he's trying to do for other people through us in those seasons. It's something where it keeps us closed off, I think, to seeing it, let alone being in it. We're not our best selves when we are walking around being it's just, no, because we're downplaying it ourselves. So we're just living in this very small state that is absolutely, it's almost it's condescending to what God is able to do or where he has them. I think of Mary is such a beautiful example of this because she was just a teenage girl when she was picked to be the mother of God. Yeah. So it's we see examples of this in scripture too, where you can easily look at that and be who are you to do that? Yes. You're just a teenage girl. David, when he slayed Goliath, who are you to do that? You're just a young shepherd boy. You're not the one. We see it all over. So, and you look at that and you go, oh my gosh, it would be so silly for us to think that God couldn't do it just because fill in the blank. So I think eliminating that word from your vocabulary in general is the best approach, because you just kind of got to own it. Like, you just got to own where you are right now, trusting and knowing that it is for a purpose, even if it feels purposeless, because it might not be what we are perceiving to be as like this is the end goal of this season. That's cute. I love that we think this way about ourselves and like have what we think will be. But we are making, God is so much bigger than that.
Yeah.
Like, he can make it, he can turn a completely different direction with it. Like, we're looking at this side of it and he's like, oh my gosh, but turn it over. And there's something on the other side that you don't even know is going to be what you get out of this. But 5 years from now, you're going to be like, oh, okay, got it. Like, I think that's kind of where we fall short in doing that to ourselves. And also where we just kind of are shortchanging what God can do with it too, because he can certainly do something with what we think is just a random stop along the way.
Absolutely. I think that I wonder if Christians maybe struggle with this even more than like the general population, or even Christian women, because I do feel like it's really ingrained in us, like, to be humble, humility, And I think that sometimes we get confused and we think we're being humble when really we're just like crapping all over what God's doing in our life. You know what I mean? Like you said in your book, downplaying your current season disrespects the good work your good Father is doing in it. So in our attempt to be humble, we're actually like disrespecting God and what he's doing in our life. Now, obviously, you're not saying go out there and be like, I'm amazing at everything. I'm the best. Everyone should listen to me about absolutely everything because I'm just the best. Of course not. But you don't need to be like, oh, I'm just a mom. Like, it's just no, you're not just a mom. Like, God picked you for those exact children to be in this exact season. The things you're doing with your children right now are going to impact them for the rest of your life, whether you like that or not. You know what I mean? Like, so we don't have to think that like, oh, I'm just being humble. No, you're disrespecting the work that God is doing in your life. And I think that's like such a good mindset shift. What we are doing is important.
Because a lot of
it's important.
Yeah. And it's, I think a lot of it is subconscious, right?
Yes.
And it's like, it's checking your heart posture while you're saying it, because we're not necessarily super aware of the language that we're using or what it's implying to other people when we're throwing that word in there, like a filler word, when we're like, oh, I'm just this, like, but if like, I'm just a barista, like I'm just doing this while I do the next, it still comes across a certain way to other people. And there is, I think more than anything, it's all in the attitude of how you're saying it, right? It's just like, I'm just this, or like, I'm just like that tone on it screams, I'm not happy with this, or I'm not, like, there's all these connotations that come with it. And I think it's just closing, besides how it's interpreted by other people, we're closing ourselves off to the potential in that too, because how you show up to that thing that you are just doing is going to be different, guaranteed, depending on how you are presenting it and how you're presenting it to other people, but also then how you're thinking about it yourself. If you're showing up and you're like, I'm just a mom. Well, your just a mom attitude is very well be showing up then when you're with your kids. Or if you're like, oh, I'm just doing this, I'm just a barista. Like, how you show up to make coffee to other people might also, that vibe might be coming across. Whereas if you're like, yeah, I'm doing this. Okay, you're probably showing up with that, yeah, I'm doing this attitude, which is going to have a ripple effect on every single person that you are interacting with in that role, in that position, whatever. So that's, I think, like the important thing to remember too, because the enemy would love for like you to think a certain way about yourself and ripple effect that out onto everybody else, where you're so discontent and like in your own thing that that's just spreading a wave of negativity across everybody that you come into path with. Like, Of course. Whereas if you can take something and be like, I can see God in all things, I will find God in all things, regardless of if this is the path that I thought I would or should or could be on by now or not. That's a totally different posture that you are showing up with. And I think how you experience life is going to be different when you can go up with that kind of posture instead of thinking like it's anything less than.
I love that. I love that. Another lie you talked about is I am enough. And I love how you pointed it out in the book. You said the phrase you are enough over the years has somehow become you are everything. Talk to me about like the nuance there.
Yeah. Oh gosh, this is a doozy because this was one where when I wrote it, I felt like this was going to ruffle some feathers.
Right.
Because we love to think that we are enough. I think this gets confusing even in Christian culture and even in different Christian circles because we think like, of course I'm enough because God made me and God made me and all these things. The key thing that I think is the takeaway to point out here is when we are saying, okay, yes, I'm enough. I can do this. I can do this. Of course I can do this because I'm enough. There's just a slippery slope that we can slide down pretty quickly and pretty easily where it becomes us depending on our own self-sufficiency or us depending on our own perceived self-sufficiency. It almost kind of trickles into like, God won't give me more than I can handle, or like, I can do anything. Like it becomes pretty closely aligned with the gospel of self at some point where we're like, of course I can do it because I'm enough. And enough for what? Like everyone has a different definition of it, a different expectation, a different measuring cup. It changes all the time. At some point, we're bound to fall short. So it's not, it doesn't sit right. At least it doesn't sit right for me because I'm like, I know that that's not true at the end of the day. Enough is not this like final destination. It's not this finished product. Like I'm not going to wake up one day and be like, oh my gosh, I did it. I read enough books. I did enough laundry. I did it. I'm done. Like, so to me, I look at that and I'm like, okay, this is doing us a disservice because the goal is not to reach this like magical end point here on earth where we're like, cool, I'm enough. We're good. We're always going to be in need of saving because we are human and live in a broken, fallen world. Like we always need our savior, and our savior was enough. That's why he's the savior. And I think that it's so easy to get so wrapped up in this idea that I'm enough that we forget that like, actually it's not our job to be enough. Like it was his job to be enough. That's why Jesus was on the cross and not us, because he was enough and we are not. And I think it's a reality check that I'm like, when I think of it like that, I breathe easier because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not my job to be everything for everybody. I don't have to do all of the things perfectly all the time. I don't have to be the one that's the yes girl for everyone. I don't need to do can I do it? Maybe I could do some of it, like, but at what cost? And it's not in my job description that I have to be the person to be doing that, all the things for all the people all the time. And I think that's something where even in Christian circles, like we can get so caught up in being the helper, being the yes girl, being the one that is showing up to serve and do this and do this and do this and do this. That pretty soon, A, we're exhausting ourselves. And B, we're also then, sometimes we're having other people rely on us instead of relying on Jesus. Like, so it might ruffle some feathers. But I think at the end of the day, we're asking the wrong question. And this is kind of like a twisted one to sit with. But for me, this was like really important to sit with because I was like, I think this is kind of exactly where the devil would want us, is so wrapped up asking the wrong question, like so wrapped up asking, okay, did I do enough? Was this enough? Am I enough for her? Am I enough for him? Did I do enough for this? That we're like fixated on the wrong thing. When if we can answer the question, okay, is Jesus enough for you? Like, was that enough? If your answer to that is yes, then like game over. The enemy loses every time because you already know the truth. You already know where victory lies. And it's not in you, yourself, and I. So I think it's like a really subtle way to give us something that it's packaged as this like cute, pretty, empowering, maybe even Jesus anointed thing of like, you're enough. And it just shifts our lens. It shifts our lens like just enough off of the real and right thing where it can kind of keep us falling short. And I think that's like the important thing to look at. Like it's keeping us just enough like off of the right perspective where we miss out.
Yeah.
And there is so much more that can be had for us and so much more peace and joy and freedom that we can feel and experience when we are not so obsessed with our own enoughness and are able to actually put our hands up and surrender and be like, actually, that's not my job. Like, it's okay. I don't have to do this all. Like, praise God that he can do it and I don't have to, like, I think so.
I love that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's my soapbox.
No, I love it. I think that was so well said. It's so much to think about. And I love that you're not scared to ruffle feathers and say the things that are true. And I really, really like that a lot. Switching gears a little bit. Another lie you talk about is that we tell ourselves is, it's happening for everyone but me. I was really impacted because I've been in this same mindset that you said that, when you did start trying for baby number 2, you subconsciously thought it's going to be easy because I went through literal hell with my first baby. Like she came 2 months early. She was in the NICU for what was it, like 75 days or something? And
73
days, you almost died. Like you said, like it was not an easy go. And so you just kind of subconsciously were like, ugh. God like kind of owes us one. Like we're going to go for baby number 2 and it's going to be the redeeming experience. It's going to be the perfect thing. It's going to be the story I missed the first time. And then like you couldn't get pregnant. And it was just like, wow, like, okay, like, so I'm going to have all of the fertility problems then. Like we'll just hit all the bases. Like this is so frustrating. Like, tell me about that.
Yeah. Oh, looking back on it, I'm like, oh, that's cute, Erica. That was cute. You felt that way.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, dude. Like in the moment, we feel this is like our feeling or our truth, right? We feel so validated, but then looking back, I'm like, oh gosh, I was so mad at God. And I think a lot of us might have been in that place at one point or another, right?
For
like
sure.
I think I truly thought I had like a bargaining chip into play where I felt like, oh, okay, you owe me one, God, because I went through all of this and this was what I signed up for. So you're definitely going to throw me the easy one here. And it's going to be all fine and dandy, right? Because you owe me that. So
totally.
Ha ha ha. Joke was on me. It took a year of us trying to get pregnant with our second. And that's obviously people go through way worse than that too. But that was just kind of like month after month, with every negative pregnancy test or with every period. It's like, it just felt like a constant reinforcement of it's not happening for you. And then based on, oh my gosh, so many different psychological phenomenons and good old social media algorithms. It's like, I think we're also all no strangers to when you're really trying hard or really wanting for that one thing, suddenly it seems like it's showing up absolutely everywhere. And everyone and her mother is pregnant. Like, it's like when you want to get engaged, all of a sudden it's like every single girl and her mom is getting engaged on your Facebook feed. When you're, this is even a thing when people are car shopping, like the car that you want, all of a sudden that's the one that you see on the road all the time.
Yep.
If there are actual scientific reasons for this, like there's the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon, which is like super funky. That's the frequency illusion. So it literally, it's where something that you recently learned or saw seemingly starts appearing everywhere. So that's like the car example, or like if you are if you're pregnant and then all of a sudden you're seeing pregnant people everywhere, it's your brain is actually looking for that. So you're noticing it more. So you're not crazy. Like it's not literally happening for everyone but you. It's just something in your brain is actually finding that, and what you seek, you shall find. So that's definitely a thing. And then like that works in tandem with confirmation bias, which is where we're kind of looking to validate our own preconceived ideas on things. So we can see how this would really send us down the rabbit hole, right? Of thinking it's truly happening for everyone else but us, because you've got the frequency illusion where what you're thinking about is literally showing up everywhere. And now confirmation bias is telling you, oh my gosh, yeah, she does have it too. And it's also happening for her. And it's also happening for her. And oh my gosh, it's also happening for her. So it's truly happening for everybody but me. Makes sense, right? Like,
yes.
Suddenly you're like, oh my God, everybody's pregnant but me.
Yeah.
So it's really disalarming, besides that now everything that you're Googling is now triggering social algorithms, and it's truly a rabbit hole. It's truly a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And that was what I was experiencing 100%.
Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely. So how can we cope when other people are actually getting what we want and we're not getting it? Like, how can we cope with that? So like during that year where you're trying to get pregnant and like all these other people are getting pregnant, like what do you do?
Well, first of all, allow yourself to feel the feelings. Because like we said, the feelings, even though they not be based on reality all the time, they are still real. So you still do need to acknowledge that in yourself. So like for me, I distinctly remember one of my friends sending me her pregnancy announcement at the time. I don't even know if she knew I was trying. And I opened it up and I was so happy for her. Like I was so genuinely thrilled for her. And also so sad for me that I just burst into tears. And I was like, oh. So I think being really real with yourself practically is important, and let yourself grieve moments that you're not having and let yourself be sad about it. But I think to not succumb to that, I do think it's really important and helpful to still celebrate those moments for other people that feel really hard and really tender. And I think people have a lot of mixed feelings on this, because I've seen people say like, okay, when you're trying, like maybe don't go to the baby shower because you're also trying. I disagree with that, because I think besides the fact that I think it's important to still be there and celebrate your friends and your people, even though it's something that you're yearning for yourself. I also think that practically we really need to remember that every single blessing is an illustration and a demonstration of what God can do. And you are not on their timeline. Yeah. So I think like saying, okay, well, I'm going to shut myself off and I just don't want to see any of it, I think is almost living in like a scarcity mindset, because it's like saying that there's like this blessings bucket and she got it and therefore I can't. So I'm mad and I'm going to go stand in the corner like a toddler and throw a tantrum that they got it and I didn't. And I'm like, dude, that's just, you're not on their timeline. God's not on any of our timelines. Yeah. He's got a totally different plan and picture for each of us. He has a blessings bucket that does not run dry and would love to bless you in the ways that you need to be blessed. Sometimes the ways that we need to be blessed are different than the ways that we want to be blessed, which is super uncomfy for all of us when we are in that position. But I think it's really important to do whatever you can, practically speaking, to still show up in those moments with a heart that is open to what God can do for you, whether it looks the same as what you hope it will, or whether it looks a little bit different. And that's, I think, that part I think takes time. And I think we have to give ourselves that time. Like we're not going to feel on board with that right away to be like, okay, God, if your plan looks different than what I want X, and if you have K planned for me, I'm not going to be ready for that right away. I need to like go through all of my feelings and get to a point where I'm genuinely okay with surrendering that outcome to God. But at the end of the day, what I have at least learned this far in my life is it is a quicker route to peace. It's a faster pathway to peace when you can actually get to a point of surrendering an outcome to God, because he wants to make it for you bigger and better than you thought it would or could be. So it might look different than what you have in mind for yourself. Somewhere down the line, you might understand why. And we might not. Like that's one of those things where for some things that we experience, we may absolutely never know why it did or did not happen until we are on the other side and asking him face to face. But I think being open to accepting whatever plan he has for us is one of the ways to start to feel peace in the waiting, because the waiting can really suck.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't want to just, if you don't know if or when something will happen for you at all, let alone when, why would we want to just torture ourselves like just over and over and over again, being in this position of, well, I'm just not going to be happy then until this happens. Like, I think sometimes you have to be really intentional about asking for peace along the way.
Yes.
And for ways to not waste this waiting season. Because life is just going to keep lifing, whether while you're waiting. So
absolutely,
that's a whole other lie in the book too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's even when you think it is happening for everyone but you, it is not. And it certainly feels that way.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I think it helps so much when we learn to like change the way we pray a bit. Like I think you can and you should pray for the things that you want. You know, like if you want another baby and you're trying to get pregnant, you should pray and ask God, like, help me to have this other baby. But I think that we should say like, help me to get pregnant with this other baby and help align my heart with yours so that I can
100%.
receive whatever you do have for me. If you don't have another baby for us, obviously that is what I want. And I'm not going to pretend like, oh, I'm like so happy that we didn't get pregnant. Obviously, no, I want another baby. And I'm making that clear to you. And I pray that you would change my heart if that's not the journey that you have for us. I pray that you would open my eyes to other paths, to other things that are in front of me that I'm missing. You know, that for us to always remember to pray with that added on piece of like, this is what I want and help me to be okay with what it is that you have. Because I know that ultimately what you have is what's the best.
Yeah. And I think that's really the key element too. It's like we hear this in the Our Father every day, right? It's like not like thy will be done. It's not my will be done. And a lot of us we fall into the trap of praying my will be done, where we're like, well, this is what I want. So God, please make this specific thing happen. But you're right. When we add on this very important, not my will, but yours be done.
Yes.
The thing that I think we also kind of miss along the way here too, is like that the opportunity is there for our actual hearts to be changed in that process. So we might get to another side, so to speak, where you look back and you're like, hold up, I feel totally differently about something than I did X amount of time ago. Like it's not necessarily this like conscious shift all the time where we're like, you're seeing your heart. But I mean, there's, when he's changing your heart, you will feel differently about something at the end of the day. So I don't think we necessarily will be at this place where we're constantly feeling like, oh, I missed out, or like, oh, I didn't get the thing that I want. Because as he's changing our heart to align it with his, I think we also then learn in that process how to seek or how to desire what he is desiring for us also. Where like, I literally was just listening to a podcast about this yesterday, where a woman was talking about her fertility journey, and she was talking about how she and her husband had been trying for years. They were completely against adoption, and she got to a point after years of trying where she shifted her prayer. She was like, okay, God, I surrender it to you. Like if our journey is going to look different in some way, she said she kept praying, please make me pregnant. Please let me get pregnant. Please let me get pregnant. And it was not happening. And she finally surrendered it to God and said that exact thing. She was like, please change my heart to desire what you desire for me. And it was very shortly after she prayed that where she all of a sudden thought of adoption and felt differently about it, where she noticed, where she like caught herself, where she was like, hold up. She was actively against doing that for her family. And she wasn't only not actively against it, she had like a yearning of desire where she was like, wait a minute, I think I need to look into this. And like, it just kind of started snowballing where now months and months and months later, she and her husband are on an adoption journey, and they still have all of these other things on the table with their fertility journey. But now they started off thinking this was absolutely never going to be what they wanted. And they never wanted it to feel like a plan B, like any of these things. And now they're in a position where they're standing there confidently saying, like, not only is this what we're pursuing for our family, this is not plan B. This is our plan A, where if we get pregnant, we are still going through with this adoption because we want this. And God changed our hearts to want this. So it's like, I think of it like that, where this extends like far beyond fertility for people too. It's like when you can change your prayer, because when we're so fixated on that too, right? Like that's all we can see. We're seeing it happening for everybody else. It's all you can see in our own lives, all you can think about. Like when you're trying to get pregnant, or when you're trying to find your partner, or when you're trying to get this very specific job that you want, like it can quickly become almost idle in your life, where you're just like obsessed with the outcome and like, how do I make this happen? God, please make this happen. Why isn't this happening? I want this to happen. This is like, you can fixate on that. And it closes us off to other possibilities, because in our brain, we think this is it for us. Like, this is the thing. It's what we want. It makes sense on paper. Like, it's the way that we think our lives are going. We're not thinking beyond that in those moments. I don't even think we're actually capable of oftentimes thinking outside of that in those moments. We forget how creative our God is. And that's, I think, where when we can say, okay, change my heart to mirror your heart, and not my will be done, but yours done, and help me get on board and desire what you desire for me. That's what will really open us up, where we can actually see the change in ourselves, to see other possibilities, to see other options, and to get kind of clued into, okay, maybe God has a totally different plan, and it might not be the exact thing that we had in mind, but that also doesn't mean that it's second best. It also might be exactly what was meant for us all along, and we just had no idea that that was like the thing on the path. But if he put us on that path, he put us on it for good reason, and he promises us not second best. So it's a journey, but we're on it.
I love it. That was beautiful. Beautiful place to end. There is so much more in this book. There's so many other lies, so much other stuff, but this gave you guys a really nice taste of just all the stuff that Erica gets into. I have just absolutely loved talking to you. Where can people get more from you? Where are you online? All the things.
Yes, girl. Thank you for having me. I am on Instagram at Erica Ligenza. And if you want to grab the book, it's anywhere books are sold. It's on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Noble online. You can go to ericagwynn.com/books. And you can grab it there as well. And if you get it, I hope that you love it. And I hope that it truly touches and blesses your life very, very deeply.
Amazing. Thank you so much for just sharing your heart with us, your journey with us, and this book with us. Like, I so appreciate it. I know it's going to impact a lot of people.